Alright, lights, camera, action. I pranked all of you. You thought I was coming back on the 31st, but we're back. Morning, everyone, and what the hell? I'm back on YouTube. Who would have thunk? So before we resume our MLB The Show shenanigans on this dead YouTube channel, I thought I would go ahead and give my tier list, or my rankings, I don't know, one of those two will work for the title, of all the MLB The Show games. So I'll be working all the way from MLB The Show 15, all the way up until this past year's game. Now, I know I didn't post that much during any of these games. I mean, the only one I was really around for was the end of 18 and the beginning of 19. But that doesn't mean I don't have my opinions on something, right? And I mean, not to spoil anything, but were you there in 2018? I mean, since we're already on the topic, let's just work our way from the bottom up. So here we go. This is my official rankings of all the MLB The Show games. So, this is probably the worst video game of all time. And that's coming from somebody who tried playing Cyberpunk at launch. I mean, at least there was something to emotionally invest in with Cyberpunk. You had at least an emotional storyline that you could try to connect with before it launched. MLB The Show wasn't that simple. Let me give you a closer breakdown of how this actually went down. So MLB The Show 18 launched a closed alpha a little bit before the game was released that year because they wanted users to give helpful feedback because the year previous, MLB The Show 17 servers were terrible. They ended up inviting some players. I was one of them, not a big deal. But they told the players who were invited to flood the servers. They said it doesn't matter how, just open packs, play games, do whatever the hell it takes to crash these servers so they can fix out the kinks before MLB The Show 17 or 18 released. And guess what? MLB The Show had its servers problems completely gone at launch for the most part, but there was a bigger issue at hand. This was easily the worst hitting engine of all time. You could hit the ball center PCI and it would be a pop-up to the shortstop. Very early home runs were being hit out the wazoo. Not to mention the blue pits were also just as insane. You couldn't buy a strikeout for 50,000 stubs if you wanted. They may as well have added that feature, because this game was a notorious cash grab. And if you thought the game was unplayable, wait until I tell you about the content. There was none! I mean, obviously they released content throughout the year, but oh, it was so bad. This was the year of the Immortals. And this was the single worst content idea that SDS has ever come up with. Essentially, these were the only 99 overall cards you could get in the game, and the only way you could do it was by playing the game, which is a perfectly fine thing. I mean, we've been doing that in MLB The Show for years now, but you couldn't earn them until July. That's right, they only released a select few diamond cards because they wanted to focus on live series, which was perfectly fine, and the year prior, people were complaining about how people were paying to play, and you could get a 99 overall team by buying it just as easily as somebody like me who likes to grind it out. And this just sunk the content so much. It was so freaking bad. Like, literally just go look up any of my old videos if you want. Shameless plug. Or just look up MLB The Show 18 videos in general and you can see, like, how much we all hated that game. And hell, for the first 3 months of the game, the only lineup you faced was with Cody Bellinger, Gary Sanchez, and Joey Gallo. That was all that people used back then. It was literally the meta. And even by the end of the cycle, guess what? They were still usable! Literally, it did not matter what card you had, the outcome for everybody was the exact same. Whether you were a 99 overall or a 55 overall, it did not matter. Is that enough to convince you that this is the worst game in this franchise? No? Well, you're wrong. I just need to move on because I'm just going to keep complaining and getting nowhere. So let's move on to the next one. You didn't think I'd do it, but I did. I did it, Reddit. This past year's game was so close to being the worst for me, but let me explain why it's not. There was so much going for MLB The Show 22. And I'm not just talking about content-wise, I'm talking about gameplay. God, why did they patch day 1 hitting? I will never know. That hope at the beginning of the game really gives that edge over MLB The Show 18. Because 18, there was no hope to begin with. It was hopeless from the start. Content was supposed to be better than it was in MLB The Show 21. It was supposed to be better than ever. The car art looks amazing. What could possibly go wrong with this game? Like I mentioned earlier, they patched day 1 hitting, and that was the best it had been since probably the beginning of MLB The Show 21 before, once again, they patched day 1 hitting. I'm not saying the content in MLB The Show 22 is bad. It is by far light years better than MLB The Show 18. But I was already disinterested by August. This was the earliest in the game cycle that I had moved on from Diamond Dynasty to Road to the Show and franchise, and then just moving to a completely different game that turned out to be garbage as well. I mean, they just started pulling 99s out of their freaking ass. Everybody had 125 everything. There are 2 99 overall Roberto Clementes in the game this year. One released at the very beginning of the game, and then another one released in like July. Here are their stats side by side. SDS. What are we doing here? I mean, it just got so watered down so quick. It really just became pointless to play after August. I mean, I rarely touched ranked this year. I really only touched events and BR. Not to mention the fact that the hitting engine was not good whatsoever. It was so inconsistent once again. I'm not going to think about that too much longer because this game was also torture, and I hope this year's game is not. So I mean, yeah, it was just another trash game in the cycle, unfortunately, but it's time to move on. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start grouping these guys to not only save time, but because these games are also sort of comparable. MLB The Show 20 and MLB The Show 21 are essentially carbon copies of each other. It's a copy-paste. That's all it really is. MLB The Show 20 was really kind of the pivotal year in content for MLB The Show. This game introduced the Prestige program, which is, as we all know, now the Parallel program. This is the game that also introduced the Innings program, which, again, eventually fizzled out and eventually combined with a bunch of other content that they made over the years to become the birth child of what we have now. I mean, it was kind of unplayable at points. I don't remember much of it. But I mean, like, overall, it was just an unmemorable game. I mean, I will have to cut them a little bit of slack here because that was also the year of the you-know-what. And I don't think I need to expand on that anymore. Now, with MLB The Show 21, it was essentially MLB The Show 20 2.0. They essentially took the game from 20, transferred it over to 21, and I mean, they improved hitting for sure, but then they patched it and it started to decline very quickly once again. 21 wasn't really that groundbreaking from what I remember either. It introduced the Parallel program. I mean, like, at the end of the day, I guess I would rank 20 over 21 just because MLB The Show 20 had a little bit more originality to it, and 21 just felt like the same game from the year before. Maybe it's also because we got this hunk of meat that same year, so I might be slightly biased. Alright, now we're getting to that good stuff. Ew. So, MLB The Show 15 is essentially the first year Diamond Dynasty started to really take form into what it is today. It was a game mode before in MLB The Show in the past. They just hadn't touched it. I remember playing it a little bit in MLB The Show 14, and it was really focused on created players that they had made, and it just wasn't good. But in 2015, they decided to finally give it some attention, and it was simple. Sue me. Ranked was just going into online games and playing for fun. You would feed duplicate cards to your cap, or your creative player, and that's how his attributes would get boosted. And it could go up to 99 everything. Rewards after games ranged from a ritual to a common player to 99 overall Miguel Cabrera, which in fact happened to me, and I will say I did have to change my pants. There were only 30 legends in the game. All you had to do was collect all of the cards of the same overall player legend and below. So if a card was an 89 overall and there was a 92 overall, you just had to collect the 89 and below. Just call me basic. I loved it. Sue me. I don't care. Now let's move on to MLB The Show 19, which is what I consider the rebirth. Finally, the Immortals are dead and gone, and in comes the XP reward path. 599 overall players all season just by playing the game. This was also the first year that they introduced Signature Series cards, which is the first year that they made the Diamond Dynasty Series cards. Essentially the cards made by the art and development team, and not Topps. Gameplay was essentially revamped and completely saved the game. I mean, it wasn't flawless, but I mean, it was playable. If they didn't make this game so well, I'm not sure if MLB The Show lives past 20. That's how bad 18 was. This is the one that saved the franchise. So the second best was easy to pick. The year they added Ken Griffey Jr. Do I need to say more? But this was the year that they finally started to enter the competitive gaming market, essentially. They were looking to compete with 2K's My Team and EA's Ultimate Team at this point. Like, that's how big of a step this was from 16 to 17. And looking back on the way we treated MLB The Show 17 as a community, I think we screwed up a little bit. The only thing that I can remember bad about this game, besides the server issues that I mentioned earlier, was the infamous just late, be great. But what's just late, be great? That refers to the hitting engine from this year. And it seemed like the only home runs that you could hit in Diamond Dynasty and MLB The Show 17 were just late home runs. So eventually everybody realized that in order to hit home runs, you had to be just late instead of good or early or whatever. And then as time passed, we eventually coined the term just late, be great. It was a meme so good that MLB The Show decided to bring it back full circle and use it as a stadium sound in one of their games. I'm pretty sure it's still in the game today. And trust me, it's still the funniest meme of all time. Oh, but the content. The content. It was the best. It was the best. That's it. Simply the best. Nope. Simply the best. While there was no XP reward path this year, there was still some sort of team affinity. I can't remember if it was called team affinity, but it was some sort of resemblance of the legends and flashbacks you would get from all 30 teams. And the single greatest content idea that they never brought back for whatever reason? Lifetime missions! If I told you that back in 2017, MLB The Show offered you 25,000 stubs and 50,000 XP for 100 doubles in online and offline games, would you believe me? Because guess what? They did. Not only that, but if you hit 300 home runs online, you got this free 99 Eddie Matthews. That's right, we've been staring at this damn card since MLB The Show 17. Please pick a new card. I'm sick of looking at it. And last but not least, the MLB The Show 15 set the foundation for what SDS was going to make Diamond Dynasty into. MLB The Show 16 is the greatest game of all time. The gameplay was at its peak. Ball physics didn't exist. Everything in feedback made sense. Birds were chirping, dogs and cats living in harmony. You had a very early concept of what would eventually become team affinity. And all you had to do was tally innings with players from that team, and you would get gold and diamond rewards for tallying innings with that team. Translating into today's game, that would essentially equal 2 diamonds because the rating scale was a little bit wonky back then. And guess what year they decided to change the live series ratings? I'll wait. And the captains. Oh my god. Dude, the captains. So basically, there were 5 captains. I don't remember all of them. I think Rizzo was one of them. Poppy, Altuve, I don't remember the other two. But you would select who you wanted to be your captain. You wouldn't get like a physical card. This was just kind of like an XP type thing. There were 6 different XP paths, essentially, and you got to pick which one you wanted to complete. Some people completed them all. I only completed one. And as you gained XP, you would unlock rewards exclusive to that captain. And these cards would range from a low overall gold to a 99. And the only way you could get these was if you selected the captain with that player. Oh! Captains were simply just another one of the best reward systems of all time. Simple as that. And I almost completely forgot about the ticket market. Yeah, there used to be another form of currency in Diamond Dynasty. This was another market where, again, you could only get these players through the ticket market. You would earn tickets through programs and playing online and stuff, and then you would use those tickets to get the ticket market exclusive players. I mean, I'm not even going to tell you what year they stopped that, because you already know the freaking answer. I mean, it was technically in the game in 18, but they forgot to update it because, it's MLB The Show 18. But that's a secret for you and me to keep. And yeah, evolution cards. The good old days. Anyone care for a rookie Tim Lincecum? You could turn into his 99 Cy Young form? Yeah, I'll have 3. I'm done talking about it. It's just the best. I'm done wasting your time. It's forever the best. And if you think otherwise, you're wrong. Well, thanks for allowing me to ramble about something nobody asked for. But isn't that what YouTube and the internet really is? I can't wait for the 31st. I don't know when this video is going up. It's gonna go up before the 31st, though. It'll be a banger. It'll be a banger. Hit that subscribe button so I can personally deliver this video to each and every single one of you. That's right, I personally hand deliver this to each and every one of you. Thank you. I only accept tips and cash. But that's it from me, guys. Don't do anything stupid. Have a good rest of your morning.